Hey everybody, it's Dee Dones here at Shanti Atlanta, and today will be the first of a series of videos talking about the reality of climate change. As most of you know, I'm an environmentalist and I also run Shanti Atlanta, a meditation retreat center that focuses on environmental awareness, and I teach Agnihotra, an Ayurvedic meditation that helps to reverse pollution and some of the effects of climate change. And that has been scientifically proven that the use of Agnihotra does reverse pollution. So what I want to do is do a series of videos starting this week and every week talking about some of the things that are going on in the environment. Now, I don't know if many of you know that there was an extensive study that our U.S. government did in 2014 on the climate. It's called the climate assessment done. This is the booklet. It is free. You can go to, what is the website? You can go to global, what is the website? globalchange.gov. Here you go. This is where you can go. globalchange.gov. You can get this free. This is the highlights and this is the overview. It's quite extensive, and they use over 300 experts to talk about things that are happening with the climate, specific things. And so when we say experts, we're talking about everyone from the Department of Interior, Monsanto Organization, NASA, the Smithsonian Institution, USAID, the EPA. I mean, this is a huge study done across all different types of issues that are facing the United States, from water to land to air quality. So this took several years to do this study. And once again, this is the U.S. climate assessment. You can download it for free or get them to send it to you. And when I do my talks on environmental issues as well as Agnihotra, I like to reference this because some people are saying, I don't believe in climate change, or I don't know what's going on. This here is very extensive. So on page 16 of this document, I'm just going to start with a very sobering statistic. Well, it's on the report findings of all the statistics that they gathered on the information. And so number one, they say global climate is changing, and this is apparent across the United States in a wide range of observations. The global warming of the past 50 years is primarily due to human activities, predominantly the burning of fossil fuels. This is what the assessment says. So I just wanted to start off with that. The report findings, it also talks about extreme weather and climate events that have increased in recent decades, and new strong evidence confirms that some of these increases are related to human activities. Human-induced climate change is projected to continue and will accelerate significantly if global emissions of heat-trapping gases continue to increase. So I won't go through all of this. Like I said, you can go to globalchange.gov. It is free, and you can get either the overview or the big thick highlights book. It's very thick, very extensive information across many different agencies that did this study that took several years to complete. Now, what I want to do is each week talk about summary of some of the studies and some of the things that we as humans that live upon the earth can do to help combat climate change. Because we have to live on the earth. We're not separated from the ocean or the animals or any of these things. We may not live in the ocean. We enjoy the ocean. We live on land, and we need to really be good stewards of the environment. And a lot of times people, you know, I say I'm an environmentalist. You may have environmental scientists, but really if you are a human that is walking upon this earth, you are an environmentalist because you're living on the planet's environment. So even if I don't tell you all these things, there's certain things that you know instinctively, intuitively, that you should do to take care of the planet. So I'm going to jump to talking about, I'm going to go up to page 9, and we're going to talk about our water situation. Now, the water situation is very bad. That's why I was telling everyone about this climate assessment document, so you can read exactly what is going on. This is not something that Dee is just saying. This is something that our own government, group of scientists and experts have done extensive studying to tell us that we are the cause, humans are the cause of what's going on with the climate issues here. So I want to start with talking about water. So as you know, the sea levels are rising and they're becoming more acidic. And what that means is that because of the CO2 emissions that are being put out there, a lot of that is being absorbed by the ocean. And so what happens is, because of that, everything becomes more acidic in the ocean. Now, what does that mean for you, the human? So let's start with talking about what happens in the ocean itself. So on page 9 of the overview section of the climate assessment document, this is very disturbing. This is a sea butterfly, and it has a shell, and it shows that this is the shell when there's no high level of acid. Well, this is the shell when the acid is high, which it is now. It's dissolving. So you're talking about anything that has a shell where their outer core is dissolving, which means they're going to die. And I was just looking at a documentary called Racing to Extinction on Hulu last night, and they showed some oyster farmers that are saying that they're having to just collect the larvae or the from the oysters, because oysters can't even develop in their shells anymore. So let's just take a look at that. Because of CO2 emissions that come from humans, no animals are not reducing this. This comes of directly the behavior that we have done. We have things that grow in the ocean that depend on that being their home. They're dissolving. The shells are dissolving. Okay, this is a sea butterfly. The oysters, the clams. So let's say for people that eat fish, you may not be able to get those oysters or clams anymore because they're dying, because we have destroyed, and we are continuing to destroy their home in the ocean. So that's the one thing that happens to the animals, the marine life in the oceans that happens there. So I won't get too much into rising sea levels, which deals with the melting of the glaciers and things like that. But that there with the ocean, I mean, I just can't imagine what it would be like. I mean, can you imagine if the acid level is so high in the sea? You know, what does that mean for you going to the beach? You know, you enjoy the sand. Of course, that's going to affect the sand, the acid level. And of course, all that, you know, with the sea level rising, I don't know if most people realize that most people live on coastal cities. So if you live on the beach and near the beach, well, guess what? You're going to have more flooding and issues like that. That's going to affect people living there. They're not going to be able to live near the coastal areas anymore. And that's going to displace people, which will affect the economy in those areas. And even think about it like this. Years ago, I was going to go into the insurance industry, but in areas where you have to have flood insurance, but guess what? If people are making a lot of claims because their home was flooded, well, insurance companies will go out of business. They won't be able to afford to make all these payments out to these areas, in the coastal areas where there's a lot of flooding and water issues there. Well, guess what? You won't be able to buy homes over there. You won't be able to afford the insurance. So that's one of the ways that it will affect humans on the level of how we live every day. Because sometimes when we're talking about things that are happening in the environment, we don't connect the dots into how that affects us as humans. But I wanted to take you through this process of what that means when we say rising sea levels, you know, and more acid from the CO2 to what happens to marine life in the oceans, as well as how that affects humans. So, you know, I want to talk about things that we can do to combat these problems of climate change. Because climate change can't be something that we just look at on the TV news, or climate change, this is something that the corporations or the government should do to solve. This is something that every one of us as individuals can do, because we are humans. Remember, we walk upon the earth. We all are environmentalists, which means that we all are responsible for taking care of the home, the planet that we live on. And so one of the ways that we can do this as individuals is to do Agnihotra meditation. Agnihotra is an Ayurvedic meditation that has been scientifically proven to reverse pollution. You can go to Google Scholar, and I will put the links down in the description on the description here of the video, that it has been scientifically proven to clean the air. It resets the planetary system, and it cleanses water, and it helps to undo some of this stuff that we have done to our planet. And I've been doing Agnihotra Ayurvedic meditation for about 7 years, and I've stepped up my involvement in telling people that this is the Vedic science solution to helping with the climate change problems, because things are getting very serious here. Which is why every week here, Shanti Atlanta and Shanti Villa Institute, which is run by my teacher, Sri Charles Davis, will be talking about these issues to let people know what is going on and what you can do as an individual to be involved in helping to reverse this solution, because we all have to live upon this earth, this planet. We as humans, I don't care if you live in Saudi Arabia or South Africa or Atlanta or San Francisco. You know, pollution does not look at you and say, you're black, you're Jewish, you're Democrat, Republican. We all have to breathe in air. If it is polluted, it affects our brains, our minds. It causes sicknesses for all of us, our children, our loved ones. And so this is something that goes across all boundaries. It's extremely important. And this is very important to me, because I love the planet. I love the people that live on the planet. And it is my duty to give out this information that is based on science, okay? That's why I started off talking about the climate assessment report. So when people are asking me, what are you talking about? You can go look this up. You can see the quotes on the EPA website, the Smithsonian Institution website, the Department of Interior, the Navy. So many people got involved with the climate assessment. I mean, I don't even know why this is not being reported on the news or talked about in schools on a regular basis. It is that serious, people. And so I'll be talking about these subjects every week, once a week, or maybe I'll do twice a week. But this is the first of what we can do. So getting back to Agnihotra meditation, you know, we have to take charge of our lives and not depend on other people. We do have to work together. And I think as individuals, we can get enough people that know about the Vedic science of Agnihotra, how it has been scientifically proven to clean the air. They even use Agnihotra meditation in a portion of the rainforest where they could not grow any food because of a plant fungus. And it was able to repair that land in 6 months with just this Ayurvedic meditation. And so it's a very powerful meditation, because if you heal the planet, you heal yourself. How can we as humans be healthy if the planet is sick? We all know from Carl Sagan and all sorts of scientific studies that we are all made from the same thing. We come from all the same stardust, okay? So you are that fish. You are the dog, the cat, you're the clouds, you're the trees. We are part of the same system. We have to take care of what we are. We are nature. We're not apart from it. So let's just remember that we are one. We are all one with everything in this on this planet, okay? And that is really what I want to get across, that you can be the person that starts this in your home, doing this meditation, showing your neighbors, and also showing everyone in your community how to do this. So in summary, please, please, everyone, go to globalchange.gov. I don't know if you can see the link right there. Get your free copy. You can download it there, or you can have them send it to you. Since I teach this, I just sent off for 300 copies. I don't know how long this is going to be available on that website. It is government run. So I just downloaded, I ordered 300 copies of the highlights, which is the big thick booklet, as well as the thin summary, the overview. But it's very detailed. It would go through each thing dealing with land, soil, cattle, CO2 emissions, water, all of that. So you can have a better understanding. This is something that you can involve your children. This can be part of their science projects and their classes at school. Hand this to the school teachers, hand this to your neighbor, your grandmother, everyone. Start off by doing that. So next week, if some of you already have this, or you can order this, then you can flip along when I say I'm on page 9 or page 14 or whatever, so we can go along. Now at this point, I want to see if anybody has any questions, because I'm sure there are lots of questions that people may have. But whenever I talk, I'm going to always talk based upon science, because science applies to everyone. You may not believe in gravity, but gravity believes in you. So I want to always start with the science and end with the science, because that's the only thing that I know that is impartial and applies to everybody. And like I said, some of the people involved in the research, the climate assessment research, which was done in 2014, NASA, the EPA, the Smithsonian Institution, the Department of Interior, the Department of Defense, Department of Transportation, even private companies, Monsanto and some other private companies, that's a public company, and other private companies and organizations were involved in this. And I can't name all of them, but if you go to globalchange.gov, they will list on there all the 300 experts that were part of this. Very extensive scientific studies that were done. Okay, so everything is based on science, okay? So I don't see if anybody has any questions or whatever. If you have a question later on, just post it in the comments section. And so anyway, there's a lot of work that we have to do as individuals, as humans, to take care of the planet. And I just wanted to jumpstart this so that way we can get started. There's a lot of work to do to clean up the planet. Other things that be mindful of is single-use plastic. Please stop that. That actually is horrible for the water, the oceans and the rivers, because that stuff never breaks down, and that affects, the rising level of the seawater. Start buying things in bulk. Get you some mason jars and go to a co-op and buy things in bulk. It's actually cheaper, and you don't have to deal with the packaging that comes with buying products. Start making some things. Like I make my own toothpaste with bentonite clay, baking soda, and Himalayan or sea salt. Instead of using so many packaged goods, make some of your items. You can make cleaning items with vinegar, baking soda, and carpool. Driving. That's a whole lot of stuff there. Work from home if you can. Encourage your employer to let you work at home even 2 or 3 days a week. These are things that you can do, but the single-use plastic, oh my God, that's the worst thing you can do for the environment. Start growing some of your own food. That's another good way too to keep the landfills not so clogged up. So with specific action, your individual actions, we have people doing this all over. We really can make a big change along with you doing Agnihotra meditation. So I'm going to sign off for now, and like I said, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a message, email me if you don't want to post it publicly, and Probably next week I'll have the Facebook Live on Thursday, maybe a little bit later when people are leaving work. But anyway, this is what I wanted to talk about. This is what was in my heart. And thank you so much for joining me. And I will talk to you the next time. This is Dee Dones from Shanti, Atlanta.